Well, Putin and China just scored a knockout blow to the United States economy, and we are screwed. And what China and Russia are doing right now should be a wake-up call for Washington and these globalists and your savings account right now, when the last time you looked at that, or your 401k plan. But these people are literally asleep at the wheel who are running things. We have some stunning new data coming out of China this afternoon and its partnership with Russia. And it's a game changer for the US dollar and the US hegemony. We're going to get into all of this new data in a moment. It's actually pretty jaw-dropping, and no one's talking about it. The mainstream media is largely ignoring this story. But first, some context here. Putin and China may have just scored this knockout blow to the US economy, not with warplanes and missiles, but with smart, decades-long planning, while our leaders have been asleep at the wheel, pushing insane policies driven mostly by the World Economic Forum. Now remember, the WEF, the World Economic Forum, runs policy in Washington, D.C. We've been cataloging that on our show for years now, and it does it in Canada and Europe as well, so Washington's not alone in this. Yes, Klaus Schwab and his merry band of globalists, they write down policy strategies in private, and then they are implemented by Western leaders, and they publish these in their own papers on their website. This is not a theory, folks. It's literally written down and then given to Western leaders to implement. Remember, Klaus Schwab was famously praising Justin Trudeau of Canada for literally taking what they had given them and implementing it in Canada. You can read the details right on their website. Like what they have planned for 15-minute cities. Yeah, the WEF doesn't want you to own cars, land, or homes, or anything. They say you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. They literally said this. And you can see how they mapped out their 15-minute city plan on their website, where you won't drive anywhere anymore. You'll just walk or ride a bike to everything you need within 15 minutes of your house. You won't use a car. You'll be given a digital ID. They'll track you. They'll monitor all of your movements. This is how the BBC explains how they've already rolled out this 15-minute cities in multiple cities around the world. Watch.
The concept of the 15-minute city was proposed by French Colombian scientist Carlos Moreno, and aspects of it are starting to be adopted in cities like Paris, Barcelona, and Bogota.
So again, these plans do become reality, and one of their dumbest strategies has been getting rid of fossil fuels, getting rid of nuclear energy, all before they have any real plan to replace it. Think you're going to do this with wind and solar? You're nuts. In fact, even Greta Thunberg now recognizes the ridiculousness of wind. She showed up in Norway to protest wind farms this week, and she was fake arrested once again. Remember, she was fake arrested a few weeks ago in Germany? Now here she is again. Yeah, so it turns out that 151 wind turbines are noisy, and they don't actually work, and they're ruining the land of the indigenous people in Norway. That's why she was there protesting it. So the emperor has no clothes. These Western leaders are digging their own graves. We're watching these moron globalists destroy our way of life right before our eyes, and they're telling us right to our faces exactly what they're planning. And their latest moves over the past 48 hours trying to provoke China into a war are proving my point. But people are rising up, and they're not stupid. Just look at the tens of thousands of people who protested this week in Europe, saying enough is enough of these globalists destroying their way of life. Tens of thousands of people. This was not covered by the mainstream media. Ignored. Stop the war. Stop Russian sanctions. Stop this globalist agenda, they were shouting. Somehow, these globalists believe that isolating China and Russia is the smart way to go. It's moronic. They believe that making these big moves on sanctions and carbon emissions are going to help the planet while at the same time hurting Putin and China. When in fact, the opposite is true. These people are delusional because in many ways, Putin and China just scored that knockout blow to Europe and the World Economic Forum at the same time, both in terms of their own moves and with the West shooting itself in the foot. So they've been accelerating, but the West has been doing itself no favors by shooting itself in the foot. It's like watching two different trains. One is packed and fueled and taking passengers in a direct route to its destination. The other is nearly out of fuel, didn't prepare anything for its passengers, and it's driving it straight into the ground. Now, I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty details of what's happening in a moment because the numbers don't lie. I'll get there in just a second. But this week, we saw the clearest sign yet that Washington is angling for a direct conflict with China. They're scared. The U.S. dollar is in decline. Their hold on power is crumbling right before our eyes. So instead of building out America's infrastructure and manufacturing, it gutted it and shipped it to China to make America's cheap goods. You want those cheap televisions? Great. Now you got them. This week, the deep state ramped up their attacks on China by claiming that the COVID virus came out of a Wuhan lab. and killed millions of people. They dragged the CIA, the FBI director, out on national television to push this story.
A blunt new assessment from the head of the FBI about the origins of COVID-19, deepening the debate this morning over what triggered the global pandemic.
The FBI has for quite some time now assessed that the origins of the pandemic are most likely a potential lab incident.
Yes, anyone with a brain knows the virus came out of the lab, and Dr. Fauci and the NIH funded that research and were actively involved in it. We've known this for 3 years. Remember when Fauci lied right before Congress?
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement.
And then a few months later, of course, they admitted that Fauci was lying and the NIH was involved in this funding all along. We knew this. So why this week, though? Why are we now hearing this story this week? Because follow the money, folks. The US dollar is dying. America's power is dying. China's new partnership with Russia has grown even further over the past 7 days. And so by pushing this COVID story, they're hoping to undermine China's trade, exports, growth in other countries, damage China so that the US hegemony can persist. The US dollar can persist. It's not working. So a few pieces of data. This week we learned that the oil and gas exports to China have now exploded, meaning Russia's need to send gas to Europe is fading fast. We actually saw this week new Russian GDP numbers this week. It shows Russia's economy grew while the UK and Europe dropped. And inflation grew again this week in Spain, France, and the United States. Sanctions working? No. America wants to blame China for America's manufacturing decline, but that's garbage. We moved manufacturing to China. But as of this morning, America has 1 million manufacturing jobs that are open and can't be filled. That's right. Americans don't want these jobs. These numbers are from today. Today, 1 million available manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing is not coming back to the United States. It's not happening. I don't care what the politicians say. We also learned this week in new data that China is not going after America's trading partners. It's building an entirely new world global order in the global south. So all of those countries that the United States has ignored for decades and are now getting their goods from China. Just look at this amazing chart. Just look at the list of countries here. Vietnam, Indonesia, Mexico, and way more. And look at this. Over the past 3 years, China has doubled its output to these countries. Not only that, China did the unthinkable. They've been aware that the US was going to pull some shady crap and try to undermine their growth. So the West will say, stop doing business in China. Well, China secretly duplicated all of its manufacturing outside of China. I didn't even know this until this week. They started building factories in Vietnam, Indonesia, Brazil, Mexico. Can you imagine? So Nike can then virtue signal and say, we're really going to do the right thing and stop our manufacturing in China. So we're moving it to Vietnam. But the new plant in Vietnam is also owned by China. Seriously, it's brilliant, actually. Right? They get to save face in the PR moves, but the same production is happening, just in Vietnam instead of China. Nowhere is this more apparent right now than lithium and battery production. The world is moving towards battery storage in the biggest shift ever, and we're not even ready for it. But China is, and Elon Musk and Tesla and all these companies know that China has basically cornered the market on lithium. Get this, the United States has only one lithium mine. One lithium mine in production in the United States because we've outsourced it all to China. So China and Russia in one move could shut it all down. All exports of lithium to American companies overnight, Ford, GE, Tesla, would all be screwed. They need it for their batteries for the new cars. And then like clockwork, all of the auto companies started doing the very same thing. Volvo, now in talks to try and buy lithium mining companies. Tesla, the exact same thing. It's been doing that, in fact, through China, and now trying to do it in North America. They're all scrambling right now because China has cornered the market on just about everything we need to run our Western economies. And they did this, by the way, without firing a bullet. We should learn from them. So that's the news update part of this video. Now I want to introduce you to today's sponsor, which is tied directly to North America's need for lithium and precious metals. And that is a company called FE Battery Metals. Now, If you're an investor, you better pay attention to what I'm about to show you because this company could explode when they announce drilling results. Now, here is their ticker on the screen. It's FEMFF. I love bringing you these companies that I'm investing in before they explode in value. That's the key. Get in before they go up, right? Last week, you guys sent me a bunch of emails thanking me for showing you these companies because you've made a lot of money. And that's awesome. But again, it's not me, it's you. You're doing your own due diligence. You're taking action. You're buying a few shares and you're seeing these companies explode then in a few weeks later. And I'm showing you why I'm investing in these stocks before they announce drilling results. If you know anything about the mining sector, you know that these companies explode after they announce drilling results, whether it's gold, silver, lithium, titanium, uranium, it doesn't matter, right? Once they announce that they've hit in this area, boom, the stock goes crazy. 2 weeks ago, I told you about another company before they announced drilling results, and their stock price doubled in 48 hours. It's at a new high, and it's staying there. So thanks for all the emails. Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for that. But really, it's you that needs to pat your own selves on the back because you're doing your own homework. So let me tell you a little bit about FE Battery Metals. They're a small company, a small market cap company, and the CEO is doing exactly what I would be doing if I ran this company. He's bought land next to the hottest lithium mining territory in Canada and some of the biggest mining companies in Canada. They've literally bought the land surrounding some of the hottest spots in the world, and the land is sitting right next to multi-billion-dollar lithium mining companies. And they're drilling all over it right now in every spot. They're not just sitting on this land. They know the demand for lithium is freaking off the charts right now. It's a brilliant move. They also don't have to ship the lithium away to be processed. They can do it in-house right there in their backyard, which means they control the process from soup to nuts. So I've watched these acquisitions happen before. And if I'm one of these big mining companies and there's a little guy, a little market cap company in my backyard, striking it rich, buying up all of this land and then finding lithium deposits and drilling it, I'm going to buy that company and I'm going to roll that company into my portfolio. So I'm not saying they're being acquired. I'm just saying they are primed, right? They are a prime acquisition target once they hit pay dirt in this area of Canada. Now remember, America has one lithium mine. That's it. And the new numbers out this week on lithium are stunning. Europe is ending combustion engine cars by 2035. They will be illegal to sell. They made that announcement last week. The US is about to make the same thing, do the same thing. The Biden administration says he wants it done by 2035 as well. And of course, this is all a World Economic Plan, by the way, World Economic Forum Plan, the WEF. No more combustion engines. Moving away from fossil fuels. So just look at the amount of minerals needed to make an electric car versus a combustion engine. Copper, lithium, nickel, cobalt, zinc, just to name a few. So the need is off the charts, and FE Battery Metals has been snapping up all of the lithium land. So here's FE Battery Metals stock ticker, which is right here on your screen. It's FEMFF. The stock right now, as of this recording, is trading at 36 cents a share. 36 cents a share. So even if you picked up a few, what are you out, a few bucks? It's up 23% right now over the past 5 days. And just for some added context on this land they've acquired, they own 100% of the land in a promising lithium exploration zone in Landrian and Lancorn Townships, Quebec, Canada. The company has been able to acquire approximately 27,000 hectares of ground in this growing hard rock area in the lithium district. It has excellent infrastructure support with a road network, railway, electricity, water, and manpower available locally to process this. So it's all right there. They don't need to ship it off to Mexico to be processed. So guys, keep your eye on this company over the next few weeks. Their stock is trading right now at 36 cents a share. I love investing in tangible assets like gold, silver, real estate, and I love investing in the companies that are pulling out these tangible metals from the ground that we need to run our lives, because these are the companies actually doing all the hard work and bringing them to market, and we desperately need them. So I'll have links to their website in the description below. Go check out their latest drilling projects, and we'll see you next time, folks.